We just received this interesting question in our community. What do you recommend for working through the pain, the anger, possible resentment caused by the adults in your life, especially for you personally, Jim, when you were labeled broken as a child? And that is the focus of this episode. Welcome back to the Kwik Brain Podcast. I'm your host and your brain coach, Jim Kwik. Working through the pain, the anger, the resentment stemming from negative labels that were given to me, or in anybody's case when they're a child, I believe that adults have to be very careful of their external words because they often become a child's internal words. So when this teacher said, that's the kid with the broken brain, that's the boy with the broken brain, I was just like, oh, every single time I did badly in school, I would say, oh, my self-talk was, I'm broken. When I wasn't picking sports, which was like all the time, I was always the last one to be chosen or forced into another team, I would say, oh, because I have the broken brain. How do you navigate that and begin the process of transformation, healing, personal growth? So stream of consciousness, here are some steps that can help you to be able to go through this process. Number one, I would start with acknowledgement and a level of acceptance. And maybe it's easier said than done, like a lot of things, but having the impetus to recognize and accept your feelings of pain, anger, resentment, guilt, whatever they happen to be. I feel like what you resist persists, as the phrase goes. And so it's so very important to acknowledge these feelings and these emotions as valid, the ones that you experience. And suppressing these feelings could often maybe even prolong your healing process. Another thing I'm thinking about is really understanding the impact, meaning reflecting on how these labels, because those labels became my limit, that label became my limit of being broken or not being smart enough. They influence your self-esteem, right? Just acknowledging that, your behaviors, it could influence your relationships, and understanding the impact can help you to identify specific areas in which you may need to work on healing or some kind of personal development. Also, seeking professional help. Therapy can be an incredibly beneficial support in processing and overcoming deep-seated emotional pain. A trained therapist can provide a safe space to express or even explore your feelings, offer insights into the origins of these emotions, and help you to develop strategies for moving forward. Another thing that I personally used was reframing the story, reframing the narrative, if you will. What if you began to reframe the negative labels by challenging their validity? Consider the motivations or the limitations of the adults, or the blind spots, if you will, who labeled you. This isn't about excusing their behavior in any way, shape, or form, but understanding that their actions reflected their own issues and potential limitations, not your self-worth. And also, think about developing and really cultivating self-compassion. I believe self-love is not selfish. And part of self-care is not just eating the best brain foods and getting good sleep. It's looking in the mirror and seeing the reflection back and just honoring that person who's been through so much, but is still standing, right? Because if you're listening to this, then you are still, you're still alive. So practice self-compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a good friend. Self-compassion involves recognizing that everyone has flaws and makes mistakes, and that these do not define your worth. Think about how you can nurture and cultivate and build your self-worth, your self-esteem. How do you do that? One of the ways is by engaging in activities and pursuits that reinforce your sense of self-worth. Focus on your strengths, your achievements, and set personal goals or benchmarks that inspire you, that motivate you. Do you want to be able to remember confidently the information that you hear on this podcast? Do you want to improve your memory to easily and confidently be able to remember names and faces, client information, give a speech without notes, learn another language, remember what you read, and so much more? There's a solution, and I call it your Kwik Recall. In just 15 minutes a day, for 30 days, I've designed the ultimate course, how to unlock your Kwik Recall. Just go to kwikbrain.com/recall. Enter podcast 15 for your immediate discount as a thank you for listening to our show. I think also what was important for me is forgiveness. While this can be one of the most challenging steps, forgiving those who hurt you can be very liberating. Like when I think about when I was 9 years old, I was being teased in class because I didn't understand the lessons like everybody else by the other kids. The teacher pointed to me and said, "Leave that kid alone. That's the boy with the broken brain." I realized that she had good intentions, right? That it didn't come from a place of malice. And I think forgiveness does not mean condoning what was done to you, but rather it's about freeing yourself from the burden of ongoing resentment and anger. I think it's very important to create healthy boundaries. Establishing healthy boundaries with those who, let's say, labeled you in the past or continue to treat you negatively. Boundaries are essential for your mental health and your self-respect. I think it's important to have borders or some kind of constraints on the things that you treasure, the things that you value, your time, your self-esteem, your self-worth, your feelings and emotions. And just remember, we've talked about this in previous episodes, the power of a positive peer group, having a support network, cultivating relationships with people who see and affirm your true self. A supportive community that can provide the positive reinforcement that is crucial for healing and personal growth. We all need people to encourage us, that could be kind to us, that could cheerlead for us, that could teach us. And if you haven't found that person yet, be that person. Be that person for somebody else. Especially be that person for who? For you. And then just remember the theme of all of these episodes, around 400 episodes that we've had the privilege and the honor to be able to share with you, continuous development, right? Constant and never-ending growth and improvement. Engage in lifelong learning. You have a to-do list? Have a to-learn list. And personal development contributes to building a strong and resilient life, and certainly a more resilient self-image. This can involve reading. It can involve going through coaching programs, joining a mastermind, workshops, therapy, all these other forms of education and empowerment that could foster your own personal growth. Working through these emotions is a deeply personal and sometimes a lengthy process, but it's a worthwhile journey that leads to greater emotional freedom and a more authentic life, your limitless life. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like, you comment, you share, you subscribe, because if you found this information or these insights, a little bit of inspiration valuable, I think that you learn things for one of two reasons. You learn it how it could empower your own life, but also you learn it for the second reason, how you could use it to empower somebody else. So I do believe you pay and you play it forward. And that would be the greatest gift that you could give us if you've gotten any kind of value from any of the previous episodes or any of our work, is that review, that comment, that like, that share, and teach it to somebody else. If you're going through difficult times, remember that you inspire people with your grit and your grace. And I'm sending lots of love and prayers to you. My name is Jim Kwik, your brain coach, the host of the Kwik Brain podcast. I want to thank you again for being part of our community. You are the reason we do what we do, and I can't wait to see you in our next episode. Until then, be limitless.